Hello, Benjamin Franklin here. And somehow, mysteriously and unexpectedly, I found myself here in the 21st century. And I certainly do have a lot of interesting stories that I'd like to share with you.
The year was 1752. I was conducting one of my experiments with electricity. It was the famous one that everyone knows about today, when I attempted to fly a kite in a thunderstorm with the help of my son William. What you may not know is, the story of this experiment did not become public knowledge until much later. And there's a simple reason for that. I was concerned that the experiment would fail or would not turn out as expected. And more than that, since I'd already gained quite a reputation for myself, I was afraid that if the experiment were to be a disaster, I would be a laughingstock. Benjamin Franklin would be a target for public ridicule, and I certainly couldn't bear to see that happen. So I kept quiet about the results of the experiment, and the only witness to it was my son William. I later published a report on the event, but wrote it in the third person as if someone else were telling the story. That way I kept my distance from it, if any criticism were to come my way. Oh, and what were the results of the experiment, you may wonder? Well, providentially, I managed to avoid a direct hit from the lightning, which could have been very fatal, as I later learned. Do not try this at home. One thing I did discover, however, was that by flying the kite in an electrically charged sky as I did, there was sufficient electricity to travel down the kite string and charge a Leyden jar, the predecessor of today's battery. And the charge that was collected was sufficient to give me a mild shock when I tried to touch my apparatus. Of course, when the results of this experiment later became more widely known, even in other parts of the world, that's when my reputation as a philosopher, or what you today call a scientist, really took off. And as they say, the rest was history.
Hope you've enjoyed my story. See you next time. Until then, your humble servant, Benjamin Franklin.